Saying exactly what is on our minds is not something that most of us are trained to do. Can we change that about ourselves? Could we become more assertive? Well, today we'll find out. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and to anybody visiting my channel for the first time, a big welcome to you. I do hope you enjoy my video and perhaps stay and watch the other videos as well. Today we're going to talk about saying what's on our minds. You know, often we feel something and we just don't feel we can talk about it. We don't feel we can really be honest about our feelings. There may be lots of reasons for this, but let's look at a few of them and see if there's any way that we can change this, if this is something that we're doing. A while ago I was chatting to a friend of mine, and she was telling me that she rehearsed everything she said in her mind before saying it to her husband. I asked her why she did this. She said, well, she probably knew what his reaction was going to be, but by saying it over and over to herself, she could possibly think of the best way to say it to upset him the least. Now, I completely understood where she was coming from. I had been in that situation myself many, many years ago. And as we know, the more you repeat something over and over to yourself and become more stressed about it, the worse it gets, until eventually you just can't find the words to say at all. So we chatted and chatted about it, and our final conclusion was, just say it. Now that, I know, sounds really simplistic, and I'm not pretending this is going to be an easy thing to do, just say it. But if you've developed that bad habit of practicing what you're going to say before you say it, just step out in courage, just once, then get the courage to do it a second time and a third time. And when you want to say something, just say it. Thank goodness, good habits stick with us just the same as those bad habits do. So just give it a try, just say it. From our childhood, we are taught to not offend people, to not say anything that might upset them. But there are many reasons for us to unlearn this lesson that was taught to us. So let's explore that a little further. Have you ever walked away from a situation where you didn't say what was on your mind? You're furious with that person, you're furious with yourself for not having said what you really wanted to say. Now you're repeating it over and over in your mind, those things that you should have said and could have said. Well, that doesn't sound like a good place to be, does it? Do you find yourself agreeing to do somebody a favor when you know that you're battling just to cope with your own job, your own life, your own family, and you've just agreed to take somebody else's burden on as well because you couldn't say no? Now, we've all done this. How many times have you stomped around the house because nobody was helping you? You were doing everything. You were doing all the chores. And everybody was sitting around watching TV, lying on their beds, whatever they were doing, and nobody was offering to help you. Well, first of all, if you've got teenagers in the house, I think the first thing we need to realize is that they're in their own universe where nobody exists except them and possibly their PlayStation or their phone. Nobody is going to help you unless you actually ask them to. Ask them or tell them. Set chores. But they aren't going to do it. It's human nature. Unless you say, right, up guys, you hang out the washing for me, you start mopping the bathroom floor, they are not going to do it. So If you want to feel better about those clean-up days, best to give everyone a job to do and actually say how you're feeling about it. Because not saying how you're feeling is the most self-destructive thing you can do. It just boils in you, and it can only boil for so long until it actually overflows, and you're going to be the loser. By speaking up to our friends and our family, we're actually giving them the chance to meet our needs, rather than always being on the end of our anger. And you know what? Most of the time they don't even know what we're angry about. It's your birthday, and your friend has not phoned to wish you for the 2nd year in a row. You're upset. Of course you are. Her birthday comes up and you decide to be the bigger person. You buy her a little gift, and you actually go around and you give her a gift and you wish her. She doesn't even apologize or even remember that she never wished you for your birthday. Now you're resentful. Is that being the bigger person? What are you actually achieving by being this supposed bigger person? Because now you're resentful. I wonder what would happen if you just said to her, you know what, that really hurt me. Just a little text message, anything would have been nice on my birthday. I think she will apologize. What does she have to be angry about? All that's stopping you from saying what you really feel is your fear of that person's reaction. And you didn't do anything wrong. You're the one who's feeling hurt. So say something about it. Tell your friend how you feel. You know, my husband helped me through a situation some time ago. At work, I was just feeling completely overworked and underpaid. I felt that they took me for granted. Every time I was given a new task to do, I grumbled and moaned about it, bringing up the same topic every time about how I didn't earn enough to warrant this big job I was doing. And eventually my husband said to me one day, just go to your boss and tell him how you feel. I thought, goodness, go and tell him how I feel? That's a new one. Never done that before. And he said, just go right now. Go and tell him how you feel. And before I lost courage, I jumped up, went through to his office, and I said, can I talk to you? Sat down. I said to him, look, I just feel that I am worth much more than you're actually paying me to do this job. And I explained to him how I felt. And he said, you're worth so much to us, and we really do want to pay you what you're worth. We agreed to a good increase, which was effective immediately. I felt like a new person. I felt appreciated. And you know what? He wasn't being a bad boss. He was just so caught up in his own job that he wasn't thinking about what I earned. He was just glad I was doing the job. So that took courage. But the end result was I was then happy to take on even more tasks because I knew I was being rewarded for what I was doing. What is the worst thing that could happen to you if you really spoke your mind in a situation that you weren't happy with? What is the worst that could happen? Now, we're not talking about spousal abuse. That's a completely different subject. We're talking about normal day-to-day living where you're perhaps being asked to do things, asked to do favors, asked to take on more of work than you can possibly do. What's the worst that can happen if you said no? Nothing will happen. And you know what? If that person that you say no to sulks for a couple of days, well then, so be it. They'll get over it. Something else that I've been guilty of myself, and I see a lot of people do, we want to ask for help, but we sort of give a half request. Instead of saying, I'm doing this job, I need you to come and help me with it, we say something like, I wonder if you could help me for maybe just 5 minutes. And then you wonder why they only help you for 5 minutes. Because you actually only asked for 5 minutes. When you know, and they know, that it's a job you should possibly be sharing equally. But you actually got just what you asked for. Us wives are really guilty of this, of asking our husbands or our partners to do us a favor and do a little household task. Sure, you know what, if they go to work all day, you stay at home, well then the household chores are your job. And yes, he will do certain things around the house, but he wouldn't obviously be expected to come in and start the ironing. But if we both work, we both have full-time careers, and we come home in the evening, well, we both live in this house, we both eat, we both wear clothes, we both need them laundered, and on and on and on. Why do we ask our spouse or our partner to do us a favor and perhaps stack the dishwasher or whatever? It's not a favor. Speak your mind and say that you feel that the duties in the house should be shared equally, if that's the case. Just say it. Someone I worked with years ago gave me a good life lesson. I don't think he realized what a lesson he did give me, because I've never forgotten it. He said, if you need to say something negative, if you need to answer somebody with a no, find a positive to start the sentence with. And, well, what a good lesson that is. So somebody asks you to do something for them. You know you don't have time to do it. Don't just say, no, I'm not doing it. What about trying? You know what, I would love to help you, but I really can't today. What about that? No one can get angry with that. You've already said you would love to help if you could, but you can't. Another thing is we say yes very quickly. What about saying, perhaps I might be able to do that, but can I get back to you? I just need to check my own diary. Check your own diary first. But speak out and say what's on your mind. So after all this, just like chatting to my friend, we come right back to just say it. Obviously, we will always try to be polite and courteous in what we say, but no more rehearsing what you're going to say before you say it. This life of ours is not a practice session. This is the real thing. So just say it. Remember, be the best that you can be. Until next time, big hugs to you. Bye for now.